Hello and welcome to my mini challenge. In this challenge today, I have 5 by 10, so 50 planks, and my one goal is to see how tall I can build. With that said, let's get right into it. Alright, so my first idea is to simply build a normal square pattern that I pretty much always do, like this. This time I'm going to try to take my time a bit more and build it a bit more neater. But although this does work, you can notice that one square takes 8 bricks, and since I have 50, that would be 6 squares it would do. It wouldn't be very tall. It wouldn't be very tall, but I'll use that as like a benchmark for as a control for the other towers I build. So let me quickly build that. Alright, so here is like the basic control tower, right? When I say control, I mean the thing I base everything else off of. And if you see that there are 6 squares, and it's actually not perfectly divisible. I said earlier that one square unit has 8 blocks in it because there's 4 for the main pillars and then 4 to connect it on every side, right? Um, so it's 8, but it doesn't perfectly divide into 50, so there's a little left over, and that's what the top is, right? And I want to know how tall it is, so I went ahead and got a meter stick, not meter stick, yardstick. Measuring's weird. So if I put it up to it, it's pretty much exactly 35 inches or 1 feet, right? I don't know what that is in meters. I'll put it up on screen right now, but yeah. So let's just get right into the next build. Alright, this is my next idea. You might notice that it looks like exactly the same. So let me explain. Although this building block is like effective, it takes up a lot of, well, blocks. So an idea I have to cut down on the material is to build it like this instead. Let me get where instead of every time I build it both ways, I only build it one way, and then it oscillates between going both directions. So this, but duplicated on itself. Like let me zoom in so you can see, so you guys can see this a bit better. See this a bit better. But notice how there's no block right here. That's because I was trying to cut down on cost, and I think this would be a better way to do that, but yet still make it tall. So let me build the whole thing. All right. So here is the tower fully built, right? You might notice that it, well, looks like it has holes in it. If I point the camera down here, you can really see that layer of how every layer it's pointed in a different direction, right, as you go slowly up the tower. And traditionally it would use 8 planks, but now it only uses 6. That way we can build, well, higher. And I do actually have 6 more planks, right? And instead of just building another square, I had a different idea in mind. Because as you go up in a tower, you want it to get skinnier and taller, so that way you minimize the amount of material you have to use for the height you gain. So give me a second. Wait, I just had a thought that I'm gonna have to destroy it anyway, so might as well do it on camera, right? So yeah, my hypothesis for destruction is that because the beams are facing this way on this layer, that it'll be incredibly weak pushing this way. What I mean by that is, do you see how there's like a giant gap here where I can do that? Well, giant gap there. Right, so if I push this way on the tower, then it'll crumble incredibly easily. So, see what I mean? Anyway, that's cool. Oh, you can see part of my backdrop is off. That's kind of cool. So, very distracting, but cool. Alright, for my next idea, I wanted to build triangles. So, let me show you. So, normally, if you try to build something like a triangle like this, right, it doesn't really work because if you try to brace two things, right, and then you go to brace the other one, then it's like off-centered, and that doesn't really work because it's like, it does that. So, kind of inefficient. But what you can do is I've tried a lot to try to make triangles because I think they're really cool. And what you can do is elevate one of the three legs, right? And then combine it like that. And then since that one's elevated, you can do this, right? And then now this one is the one that needs to be elevated. So what you can do is you can take two, right? And then put it there-ish. And the reason why I would normally do this on a tower is because I can have, instead of just having this like just blocks as just filler, right? I could have another tower right here that's connected. I could have another triangle, and then it's connected here, and then I can have like a bunch of triangles. But since we're on such a small scale, it's more effective just to do that. So now when I do a triangle like this, these two are still the small ones, but it's braced here instead. So if you notice, right there is a gap, but on this layer, this one's a gap, and right, so that would kind of continue upwards. This is the only way I found to actually build triangles. Um, so that's kind of cool. And I thought this would be more efficient because, triangles, it would take less planks, but it actually takes the same amount, which really shocked me. Because if I zoom in even further, whoa, you can see that there's three at the bottom, right? And if I move the camera a bit, there's three legs at the bottom. There is one right here, and there's two right here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? And that, if you don't remember, is the same amount as the normal break. So it's actually less efficient to do it in this orientation, but if I had two triangles, I then use this to connect them both, and basically they serve two purposes to connect this one and this one, then it would be more efficient. So yeah, that's kind of cool. I know this looks like a disorganized pile, but I promise you this is 50. So yeah, um, that is a wrap on what I wanted to show you. I really hope this inspires you to build and just play around yourself. Um, Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.